information, interviews, in-depth weather, and more. It's Terry Henne and his Farm Show on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com.
A mostly cloudy good morning to most of you. A little bit of sun, if you can believe that. For others, yeah, we did have some sun here at Radio Center. We've had clouds. We've had a downpour, which is what we're getting right now. And just a little bit of anything and everything except strong gusty winds. We don't have that. As of right now, we do have an east breeze right around 7 miles per hour. Foggy conditions, rain conditions, 67 at the airport, 68 here at Radio Center. Downtown Midland is also looking at 67. Downtown Bay City is at 67 as well. As we go through the day, what you see is more than likely what you're going to get. If you do have some sunshine, you're going to get that. You're going to get the clouds. You're going to get the rain. You're going to get just a little bit of anything and everything today. Hopefully, for most of you, you're not going to pick up much in the way of precipitation. And really, over the last 24 hours, some of you just barely a trace of rain. Matter of fact, the rule of thumb across the Great Lakes Bay region was that most locations had only picked up maybe 1 or 2 100ths of an inch of rain. We did see a few tenths of an inch here and there, but that was about it. And driving home last night, the back 40 in Richville, I was shocked to see 3/10 in the gauge last night from during the day yesterday. So it all depends on what square foot of property you're on, just exactly how much rain you're getting. Right now, we are seeing a pretty heavy squall of precipitation that has moved up from the border between Indiana and Michigan, moving up the west side of the state and the central part of the state, almost following the 127 corridor right from south to north. And in particular here, the Saginaw area, Bay City area, we are looking at the far east side of that movement of precipitation. You move a little bit further to the west along 127 and areas to the immediate west. They're getting some heavy downpours here over the past half, 3/4 of an hour. So they are going to get a rain gauge that will measure something. By the time it's all said and done, 73 is our projected high. We are looking at a few locations right now where it is 72 down in the Detroit area. We're also looking at some locations even in the Upper Peninsula where temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s. And then you're seeing a few more low 60s across the UP. What's been happening over the past 6 weeks has been very abnormal for this time of the year. Not so much with the precipitation as has been the temperatures. We should be looking at a few nights here and there where temperatures drop down to about 38, 39 degrees. I think you can count on one hand and maybe one digit where you've seen a temperature below 40 degrees so far since the Labor Day holiday. By contrast, we haven't been breaking any record high temperatures, but consistently all the way along, we have been averaging anywhere from 2 to as much as 15 degrees above normal and our high temperatures. And in the forecast, we are going to be looking at 80 degrees. If we don't hit it Sunday, I think the odds are much better of hitting on Monday. So how unusual is it? Well, if you take a look at the number of degrees per day that we have been above average, that total so far is greater than what we have seen during the same period of time over the last 40 years. Now, we have had some pretty mild falls, but this is going to go down as one of the warmer falls that we have seen so far. And we're showing no signs of it tapering off, really. We are looking at maybe coming kind of back down to normal as we get into the last week of the month of October. But some forecasters are even talking the first few days of November that we're going to continue to be not above, but much above average on the temperatures. I think really the ultimate guess as far as when is this all going to turn around more than likely is going to be right around the 10th of November. So kind of mark that down on your calendar if you got one handy, and just kind of keep track, because I got a funny feeling that once we move into November, at least into the first 10 days of November, we're going to begin to see a rather dramatic change. And some of the long-range forecasters have indicated to us that this is going to be an exceptionally cold November and December. And the precipitation values are supposed to be above average. So we'll see how quickly it changes over. But as has been the rule here lately anyway, at least over the past couple of years or so, we've been working with extremes and not really gradually moving into one season or the other. So we're just going to have to see if this November plays out like some of the forecasters think it is going to play out. But the odds, quite frankly, are pretty good that we will be taking a major dive in our temperatures once we roll into at least past the first 10 days of the month of November. What are we looking at? On again, off again, clouds tomorrow. There is going to be the threat of seeing some widely scattered shower activity, but it'll be a lot more widely scattered than today. 74 for a high, 78 at least for a high on Sunday. And then moving into the work week next week, 82 for a high on Monday. More on the weather as we go through the broadcast. Gary Kaufman is standing by at Star of the West. We'll talk to him in just a moment. But before we do that, we want to remind you the weather forecast brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Nutrien Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrien Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrienagsolutions.com.
They say there's a secret to growing a great crop. At Nutrien Ag Solutions, they beg to differ. It all starts with a strong foundation, and when it comes to fertilizer, there's no question that Titan XE drives dry fertilizer performance. They've been unlocking the potential in every prill of dry fertilizer with biocatalyst technology for over a decade. Visit lpi.ag/Titan or contact your Nutrien Ag Solutions crop consultant to drive your crop's potential today. The folks at Hilleshog Seed want to remind each and every one of you, Mr. Farmer in particular, to be safe this harvest season. The weather has not exactly been very cooperative for some of you, but yet they are really pleased to see the results so far of the season that's come back from the factory. They want to remind you that when you plant Hilleshog Seed, your farm can be generation strong too. Look for their 2022 variety lineup, complete with new genetic offerings. Then look for a visit from your Hilleshog agent. We say good morning to Gary Kaufman, first of all. Gary, what's going on today?
Well, good morning, Terry. Yeah, we got a little mixed market here on a Friday. Wheat was positive most of the morning. Now it's turned on the negative, but we do have corn and soybeans on the positive side yet. So currently, let's call cash wheat down a nickel, Terry. That puts the white at 701 and the red at 666. New crop for next year, we can call it down 5 as well at 735 on the white, 675 on the red. Cash and current crop corn is up a couple at 486, and soybeans currently up 5 for cash and new crop at 1192. Terry,
so what's making the markets do what they're doing right now, Gary? I know that really we've been trading in a fairly narrow range, and we go 2-3 days with one commodity down, and then all of a sudden, boom, up it goes. Yeah. And the opposite happens. So what are we doing?
Yeah, corn futures, is a good indicator of what you just said, Terry. China's been on holiday for the last week, as a week long, so they're going to get back here next week. And but corn for the past 10 days has traded on both sides of kind of that 50-day moving average, which is at 539, and we've been unable to finish above that. We get up that one, then we bounce back down. When we come back up, and we bounce back down. But yeah, and soybeans is after a pretty negative week last week, we're getting some nice support from the world vegetable oil markets, and some of the palm oil markets are kind of had new contract highs, and canola futures are again surging. So that's kind of kept beans on the positive for the week, where corn and wheat kind of a little bit on the negative this week. But yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of demand. We got harvest pressure, so it just depends on what the traders are looking at mostly. And then we got the Goldman Sachs index funds rolling here, so they have a little bit of influence on the market here as we move forward as well. But yeah, we're looking at some wheat exports that's mostly being filled by Russia, as it appears their exporters are attempting to front load a lot of the sales because they're scheduled in February to put some more export taxes on their exports. So we'll have to see how that all works out. But yeah, just a lot of bullish, a little bit of bullish, a little bit of bearish news. But the big thing is next week's, Terry, is on Tuesday, October 12th. We have the next USDA report. So maybe we'll get a direction one way or the next once those numbers come out.
Well, that's coming kind of quick.
Yeah, it did, because we had that small grains and quarterly stocks report on September 30th. So, yeah, right behind that, again, is our monthly supply and demand report that we're going to get. So, and from the September 30th report, we're going to add some of the production increases that they gave us on that report and this report, and then also particularly in soybeans, that's where the big mover was, bearish-wise, but we're going to get some update on the yields on corn and soybeans as well.
So maybe some correction there.
Could be. You got it.
Next Tuesday at noon.
You got it, Terry.
Well, the day after Columbus sailed.
There you go.
We might all be sailing. I don't know. Have a good weekend, Gary.
Yeah, I will, Terry. You do the same. Thank you.
I will, you bet. A little bit more in depth as far as what the markets are doing. Doug Klein from Oppenheimer joining us right now. The market report brought to you by Schaefer and Beerline. This area's Ram certified ag dealer. It's Ram ag season going on right now at Schaefer and Beerline. They are the Ram truck and van experts. They know how to take care of biz because since 1852, they've been doing it. At Schaefer and Beerline in Frankenmuth, where family and service sells cars. And by the folks at Thumb Bank, serving the needs of farmers for well over 125 years. 2 locations in Bay City, also Cassidy, Caseville, Pigeon, and Bad Axe. Thumb Bank, where relationships are built on trust. Morning, Doug.
Good morning.
Here we go again. Yep.
Crude oil cleared $80 today.
Yep.
80.11.
Yep.
Still at 79.76.
And the candy bars are costing more too.
Yeah, I hear you.
And my guess is the hot dogs will be going up.
They'll ratchet it down $3 and run it up 5 or 10, and then bring it down 3 and run it up 5 or 10 until they exhaust that play. On the bright side, Hunter sold 5 paintings yesterday, $75,000 a piece.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got to check out who bought them to make sure they're not, connected, but I'm sure it was just some.
Well, if he's a really nice guy, I mean, he just donated to that 5 trillion or whatever in the world they're talking about there.
Donate. Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to donate it to the big guy. So yeah, platinum's up 4 3/4% today too, $46. I guess that's just a thin market. So yeah, who knows what we're dealing with? But we just live and let live, right?
Yep. And watch James Bond this weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's your numbers. The December corn is 535.5, up 1.5 cents. The March corn is 544.5, up 1.5. November soybeans 1253, up 5 3/4. March soybeans 1274, up 6 3/4. The December wheat is 736 3/4, down 4.5, and March wheat is 750.5, down 4 1/4. Crude oil sitting at 79.76, up $1.46. Heating oil is 249.39, up 3.5 cents. Gasoline is 237.35, up 4 cents. Natural gas 563.5, that's down 4.5 cents. The Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar, gets you only $1.2479 at the border, down 67 ticks. The yen is at 112.17, up 58 ticks. The euro's at 115.69, up 19 ticks. The dollar's at 94.10, that's down 11 ticks. Gold's at 1757.50, down 40 cents. Silver's at 22.75, up 10 cents. Platinum's at 1030.60. That's up 46.70.
Have a nice weekend, Doug.
Thanks. Yep, you too.
We'll talk to you next week. Doug Klein over at Oppenheimer. Going to get a progress report as far as our sugar beet harvest goes. Ashley Davenport from the Michigan Ag Today, folks, files a report. She comes along in a moment.
Where has Pioneer corn product development taken me today? Welcome to the local research center in Mankato, Minnesota. I'm in the main building because it's hot and sticky outside, really humid. And I'm looking out the window at a field planted with Pioneer's most advanced corn trait technology, Pioneer brand Chrome products. The breeders here are excited because Chrome technology works across more Pioneer germplasm than previous triple stack products. So at the same time you're getting strong pest protection, you're unlocking more yield potential. I see a couple of Pioneer scientists out in the fields now. Me, I've got air conditioning and a soda, so I'm good. The Research Center in Mankato, another place that makes Pioneer, Pioneer. You'll hear more from me later. For now, let your local Pioneer sales representative hear from you.
Sugar beet harvest is on pause here in Michigan after some areas of the state were swamped with several inches of rain. This latest event, coupled with showers from September, have increased Cercospora pressure.
I wouldn't say that we're looking at the disasters that we've seen in 2016 or anything like that, but because our growers have been pretty vigilant about spraying, but the pressure's still there.
Rob Gerstenberger is the Michigan Beta Seed sales manager. He says that Beta Seed's parent company, KWS, has been working on Cercospora tolerant varieties. That variety, CR+, was planted this spring in Michigan, and growers have been impressed.
They cut the number of sprays in half. The customers that have used them this fall are super excited about it because they had a lot less fungicide spraying. And when we get into these wet periods, the variety has the tolerance to Cercospora and not so critical that the growers get the spray on.
Despite that pressure, yields for Michigan beets have been phenomenal this season. According to Michigan Sugar's latest report, finished fields have been averaging 34.5 tons per acre.
We are on track for a record crop. We've never seen a crop this size in the fall, and so we are going to have a record tonnage crop. Our sugars are a little diluted right now because of the excess moisture we've been having, but I still have hope that we're going to see some pretty good sugars yet.
According to Monday's USDA crop progress report, 63% of the beets are still in the field. Gerstenberger says that dry weather will be welcomed by growers to get the crop out while sugars are still high.
Hi, Deb. Another weekend, more youth baseball. Where's Jerry?
He wanted to come, but he's busy battling brown beet fields.
Cercospora?
Yeah, he went out to spray again. Is your crew spraying?
Just a few times. It's a sea of green this year.
You're kidding.
No, we tried that new CR Plus trait developed by KWS, and it's like night and day.
Really? Wow. You should text Jerry. He needs a new plan.
Maybe I'll just send some pics from the game. He'll get the message. KWS CR Plus trait is licensed to Beta Seed and Crystal Brand Seed.
Along with us now, Chuck Cervinsky from Maple Hill Nursery over in Midland. Chuck, pretty soon the leaves are going to be making a major drop, and it looks like we're going to be busy because these trees have really hung on to the leaves so far this year, haven't they?
They have, and one thing I'm getting a lot of calls on now is why is my pine tree or arborvitae turning brown? It's looked great all winter, but all of a sudden it's turning brown. Although it's the time of the year when we expect things like maples, oaks, and other trees to start dropping, we take it for granted that evergreens are going to stay the way they are all the time, and that's not all true. Although most of the conifers do stay green all year, most people don't realize that evergreens don't keep their needles all the time, and most of our evergreens grow a new tuft of needles on each branch to add to the several years worth of needles that it already has. And each year, around this time of the year, we start to see them lose their oldest needles closest to the trunk, and this is what we call fall or seasonal needle drop.
What about some examples that we really notice?
Probably two of the most popular examples are white pine and arborvitae. The innermost needles on your white pine will turn a real bright yellow, and they'll start dropping all over the place. And normally the ground underneath the tree is just covered. Although you might think it's dead, the tree is perfectly healthy. Arborvitae are kind of the same as white pine, although the foliage drop is a little different. It's more browner in color, and it doesn't come off quite as heavy as a white pine.
So for more questions, they can get a hold of you.
They can give us a call right here at the store at 989-835-4708. Also visit our website, www.maplehillmidland.com.
Chuck Cervinsky, have a good weekend, okay?
You too.
Will do. We'll be right back.
This season, there's a new choice for your fields. Zetavo soybean seed, designed with triple stacked Enlist E3 technology for weed control flexibility. Supported by a dedicated team of BASF agronomic experts. Protected by the versatile BASF soybean crop protection portfolio. Zetavo soybean seed, stacked in your favor. Zetavo from MS Technologies, distributed exclusively by BASF. Always read and follow label directions.
Life beyond the gravitational pull of the city requires a can-do attitude. It takes versatility to accomplish all that needs to be done, and enough power to never get in over your head. The Kubota L-Series tractor pulls up its bootstraps, hooks up to its many attachments, and gets the job done right. That's why it's the #1 selling compact tractor in America. Kubota, shape your world.
The new gas-powered Kubota Sidekick is the first utility vehicle of its kind. With the freedom to roam at 40 miles per hour and the power to haul whatever needs hauling, it's where durability meets speed. Built to get the job done right, with acceleration and handling that blur the line between work and fun. Kubota, shape your world.
Test drive the Sidekick today. See Kim Weiss at Lingo Equipment, 3001 Sawyer Drive along I-75 at the M81 Carroll exit, just south of the Zilwaukee Bridge in Saginaw. Call Kim today at 989-754-7801 or email at k.weiss@lingo1.com.
Where has the Pioneer Audio Tour taken me today? I'm in Princeton, Illinois, at a field they call the Soybean Disease Nursery. Researchers here are actually encouraging the growth of diseases, like sudden death syndrome. That's because it's not enough to study a disease as it occurs naturally. There might be some years where conditions aren't right. So in this nursery and about 24 more across the country, Pioneer scientists induce disease. Here, that means making sure the ground is saturated. You can probably hear the irrigation system. Pioneer breeders and agronomists share data from this field to learn what varieties show greater resistance to disease. Because to achieve yield, you have to protect yield. The Disease Nursery in Princeton. Another thing that makes Pioneer, Pioneer. You'll hear more from me later. For now, let your local Pioneer sales representative hear from you.
We'll be back at 12:30 with an update. Now we conclude our program with the playing of our national anthem.
From the Stone Specialist Studios, this is WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW-FM, Carlton,